Hi, welcome back. We're on to part 2 now, and the crowd of people in 3d-palace IRC is still busy making happy comments. Now, what we're going to be doing is working our way further back towards forward towards this part here, because I wasn't very happy with the way that the actual barrel chamber was looking. Also, I wanted to do some modification to that. Let's see. I think for this, I'm just going to use a cylinder again. Bring it out like that. It occurs to me the best way of doing this is probably the simplest way, so... Nope, that's Control Delete, Control I. And I'm going to bevel this out. Now, I do have edge checks, and unlike most of you guys running the demo, my one will actually save my chamfers afterwards. So, I had a few problems getting it installed and running properly, but actually Vladislav from, who's the guy who actually wrote edge checks, assisted me in making it work, which was really awesome. Because I have pointed out many times how much I love edge checks. Should probably scale this up a little bit because it's a little bit small, which is making chamfering a pain in the arse. There we are. Bring that back in. Just delete that end face there. And use my skills of posting on the forum. I've just posted that part 1 is recorded, just for anyone who's following along. Apart from the usual 3d-palace reprobates, obviously. There we go. Right. Make sure there's a gap here. If there isn't a gap here, we're not going to cap it very well because we'll get a bent polygon. Okay, going to click attach. Someone's just asked about the sights on this. Funnily enough, the best looking sights, I think, for weapons, whether it's going to be for a gun game or whether it's going to be for like film, is always going to be good old-fashioned metal sights, you know? I mean, don't get me wrong, the whole holographic sight system that your average sniping people to death from the freeway kind of thing uses is probably a lot more efficient, but I honestly prefer a kind of overhead sight, you know, the metal kind of stumpy thing that you sight down. Besides which, this is working off a pintle, it's probably computer operated. In which case, in fact, let's go, you know, and think about the computer operation of this. Inset, control select by edge, and we're going to extrude. The way I said that reminded me of Charlie the Unicorn, and now I'm going to have the Charlie the Unicorn song going through my head for the next several bloody hours, which is rather aggravating. Because my kids have been incessantly watching and singing that for far too long now. Okay, bevel this out. I can have some fun reading 3d-palace emails later on. Dear 3d-palace, why, oh why, oh why, oh why, oh why do you continue to make robots? As a non-robot lover who uses 3d-palace constantly, I would like something different. Cylinder? I do actually get people who email in complaining that we do too much hard surface stuff. It's like, which part of being a hard surface website do you not actually understand? I mean, apart from the fact that hard surface does sound quite funny. Click there. Nice simple shape. There we go. Now then, over here, straight down here, do a connect. Now you'll notice our connect's a little bit wonky, so do this, and then bring it across, then chamfer it. I now have people doing Charlie the Unicorn quotes in 3d-palace IRC, which is disturbing. I may have to actually purge the channel in a minute. Okay, bevel by local normal, then click cancel, because I can do this by hand. Take these ones. Okay, and that gives us that shape there. Now if I want to get a bit of an edge around this, I'll just go into select mode. Because already you may have noticed I'm just mixing now with building the basic shapes and building detailed shapes. And I'll go straight into extrude while I'm doing this as well. You see, doing this gives us separation between the two parts, which makes it look like our model is even more detailed than it really is. It's a cheat, but it's a working cheat. There we go. Like so. Later on we're going to kind of add tons of widgets and circular things and stuff that makes very little sense, and it's all going to come down there. Okay, now back up onto here. And over here I'm going to make another cylinder. Because I've already gone, you know, way of the curved surface, so we have to continue with what we were doing. Whilst I can hear the Candy Mountain song going on in my goddamn head now. Thanks, Lee. Control I. Yeah, it can get quite tricky to actually record a video tutorial when all you can hear in your head is the Candy Mountain Cave song from Charlie the Unicorn. Yeah, I can't remember that one actually, Lee. SB, sorry. Which is probably just as well. Well, I'm sure one of you will reacquaint me with it, and I'll have a new song going round and round in my head for a few hours. Yeah. Trust me, as a 3D artist, it's hard enough anyway. You know how incredibly kind of easily we all get distracted by fun songs and stuff. Thankfully I'm too busy to actually go to YouTube and look up whichever reference it is that SBs came up with. There we are. And cap here. And here. That's quite nice, but it's going to need to be actually chopped up because, you know, it looks like the roof of a 1980s factory stack. So connect. Ah, no, there. And delete these parts. You know, a lot of this is me just trying to think on the fly what shapes work and what shapes don't. Because even though I've got a concept, the concept isn't obviously in 3D, so... Bridge, no, cancel. Bridge tool has decided it doesn't want to do that. Bridge tool being naughty. It's okay, if the bridge tool doesn't work, just border it and cap. Now, when you get this ludicrous looking thing here, just use the cut tool on it. Like so. And then all you need to do is select here. And here. Connect. And then we can just cut the edges in. Looks like I should have cut more edges in, doesn't it? I would imagine it would, yes, Odessa. Which is never a bad thing. Although 3d-palace's stance on Ewoks really hasn't been broadcast that much over the years. I remember it was actually mentioned in 3D World at one point on our strange fixation with Ewoks. But since then, not a lot. Interesting. This is kind of veering slightly to one side. You see, I like the way you guys are thinking about this. Ewok maiming, thinking... I actually got an email on 3D Palace, must have been about 2 or 3 years ago, from some guy who was complaining at me because I didn't like Ewoks and because I said nasty things about them, and it was totally unfair, and like George Lucas had worked really hard apparently designing Ewoks. And I remember thinking it was probably the funniest email I'd ever seen in my entire life. Yeah, what was it, 1802? Hunting, killing and eating Ewoks since 1802 or something. Right, splines, lines. Yeah, that was an interesting emails I used to get at 3D Palace. And of course he's still there, although I believe he's retiring soon. Right, oops, wrong one. This one. And what I'm doing is I'm just using a spline here, just to make a smooth shape for some tube work that I want to come out. And I can reduce the steps of interpolation if I need to, just so I can kind of see what I'm doing better. So I'm just going to start at the front here. It's always quite good fun working with non-tangible wobbly things like this. Spline's an absolute nightmare to line up the way you want them to. Port. God, yeah, we should find that post, you know, if like 3d-palace still has it, that post by that guy about Ewoks was absolutely like an administrator's dream. Because you just think, you know, people can't really be that stupid, and then bam, they are. Complaining about Ewoks and the fact that like we decided jokingly that 3d-palace was really going to hate Ewoks. Because at the time it seemed like a funny thing, you know, because I always thought the Ewoks were about the worst thing in Star Wars besides, obviously now, Jar Jar Binks. There we go, that should fit. About there. Increase the interpolation now. Just so that we get a nice smooth pipe coming all the way back to here. I'm going to have to build plugs so that these go in properly. There's one. There. Because what you do is you put in the cables now, or rather I put in the cables now because I'm doing this and you're not. And then what I'm going to do is build ways of kind of attaching the cables so that we get cables winding around it and all that kind of thing. So it'll look nice once we're done, don't worry. Okay, turn that off. Move the pivot. Okay, now we get this one. And it's just a case of kind of thinking about cables and the best way to wind them around each other now. So again, I'm going to change the thickness on this. Reduce the steps so that I can see where it's going. It's a lot easier to wind cables over each other if you do them one at a time. You can use wire jumble, which I think was written by Neil Blevins, and it's an excellent little script. But personally, my problem with wire jumble is it creates a mass of wires, and they all go in and out of each other, and it requires too much tidying up, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, Blevins is awesome and the script is awesome, but it's a pain in the arse to make it work. I think I'm going to move this one in a bit down here. Tuck it in. Something you've got to remember, I suppose, kind of militarily, if you're designing this kind of thing, is that if it's for some sort of a military use, then ergonomically and economically they're going to want A, minimal parts that can be damaged, B, as I believe Poopin' Clumpin' was saying in IRC last night, you're not going to want a weapon where someone can just pull out a wire and it's never going to work again. Well, you might want that weapon for your enemy, but you wouldn't want it. Okay, so that's another cable in. Just going to move these ones a little bit more towards this edge because I want 4 cables coming out of this, because these are basically feed lines. Yeah, it's unfortunate that thread probably is gone, but then again I did remove the Raptors as a butt forum a while ago because it was just full of complaints and bad threads. Enjoy, don't forget sausages and bacon, Mr. BK. Okay, so that's 2 of these in place now, and I'm going to move this one a bit further this way, I think, because what I'm going to do is put shielding over the top of these when I'm done, which kind of belies the point, but yeah, it was in the Raptors area. Okay, now I'm going to move this one this way again. Open the line tool. I'm actually quite hungry. I thought I had some kippers left, but unfortunately I don't, which is a shame because I'm a very big fan of kippers. Remember, just take your time moving the cables around. It's not worth rushing it, because if you rush it you won't get it right. You're not going to magically throw your polygons into the right area and have your model work first time. Okay, it doesn't work like that. You may think it does, but it doesn't. It's all about tweaks. Tweaking and coffee. Otherwise this tutorial set would probably be quite a bit shorter. Okay, make sure that nothing's lying on top of it where it shouldn't be. Reduce the thickness a little. This one's swerving a little bit too much, so let's just reduce the swerve on it. Okay. And I think one last cable probably... That's not a cable, that's something different. Now only actually convert your pipe work to solid objects once you're sure that you're finished with it. Otherwise, you know, you're going to have to rebuild it from scratch. That's part of the problem with working with these. You can get some really good results, but if you convert it to an edible poly too soon, you're going to have to go back and do it again, because chances are you're going to build a piece, it's going to intersect, and it's going to be easier just redoing the rope. Well, the pipe. I mean, you can see how these kind of flow over each other. It gives a really nice effect. Just take your time. There isn't a rush unless you're working to a deadline, in which case you shouldn't be watching a video tutorial. No, it's not going to be worn. To the comment that's just gone in IRC there, someone just said it should have a wire harness. I don't think that's a very good idea. We're going to lose a level of believability. This thing's supposed to be massively heavy. It can be vehicle mounted or ship mounted or whatever. It'd be a good idea if it was slightly smaller, but I mean, if you look at the width of the thing, I mean, the alien gun, that I know you're thinking of as a basis for that idea, it would probably work better on, but I don't think it would on this one. Alright, how are we doing so far? Time for a drink. That's better. And now I've created a load of pipe work here, and I want to create some more up here. Just a couple of wires that are going to run down here. So again, just kind of looking at best way of doing this. I'm going to create a line. Like so. And click over here, select everything, just make it smooth. That means I can position this a lot better. I'm going to reduce my interpolation just down to 1 step for the moment. Now I need to change the thickness now, because this white is too thick at the moment. It's just going to come down here, like so. Hold it close to the unit, simply because in reality it'll be held by clips and clasps and things. Again, military wouldn't want cables blowing around, being easy to get a hold of. Most of this will be shielded anyway. All we're doing is we're creating basically cabling that is running up from the trigger guard area. Okay, there it is. And let's see, increase the interpolation now so it'll become smoother. 3 steps should be enough. Now at the minute it's exactly in the middle, so I'm just going to bring it across. Cancel. And again to there. Make it an instance. If I make it an instance, then I can go straight into this and apply an edit poly and basically mess around with it over here, and it'll do the same over there. Yeah. Okay, now over here where it's coming through this, have it come in there. To about that. Down here, grab these. There. Okay, now down here then. I'm going to bevel by local normal. Click cancel and then do it by hand. Just that. And then again, probably not there because that's going to be hidden. You'll notice I've got these two swerving to one side here where I've made a mistake. Let's put those back. There we are. And that gives us that shape. Now over here, where we have these, I'm going to start to want to put some cowling down, just to kind of cover them. If I don't, then I'm going to have to build, what do you call it? I'm going to have to build a actual set of plugs for it, so I'd rather not. So I'm just going to click and drag, bring that up, and clone to an object, cowling 01. And over here, just check my symmetry point on it, because I'm going to apply symmetry to it. Makes it a lot easier once I've applied symmetry to this, you see. Go back to editable poly, just show end result. Pin my position in the stack. Bring the entire lot down a bit, because it's a bit high. And just start bringing our shape down like this. As you can tell, I'm probably having to think slightly more. When I have to think slightly more, which is always dangerous of course, I tend to talk slightly less. Undo that. Bring this down. Bring that in. Start messing around with the verts. There we are. Now if we look down here, we seem to have an excess polyogon going on, so I'll delete that. Not sure how that happened. Having a few problems here trying to get it to select properly, which can only mean that Max is being a bit of a turd at the moment. There we are. When it does that, what you have to do is select an item and then convert it to editable poly, and then normally your selection tool comes back. As you can see on this one, it hasn't. So what I'm going to have to do is reset up the symmetry on it again. Flip. And SB's off to bed, which is disturbing. Night SB. Shows that it's a bit early possibly in the US of A at the moment. Okay, got this shape here, which I'm going to pull in. Get rid of that one. This one here I'm going to bring down. Like that. Still got this damaged bird here, which I'm going to kill. There we are. 2 hours until he's got class. Why the hell were you here? Banana head. Okay, I'm going to take these down. And just move this edge here. Okay, now over here, same again. Just building the shape of this cowling that we need. And then click from here to here. And just bridge it. There we are. That gives us that shape. Now down here. We do need a visible means of support, by the way, in which these things kind of attach to each other. We can't just have them floating over the top. So we do need to come up with a way for it to actually connect in with the rest of it. However, normally that's not too difficult. Just isolate this for a bit. This means I can work on it a little bit faster. Okay. Got an urge to watch House later today. Unfortunately, there isn't a new episode out for a while. I know that the US is slightly ahead of us on episodes at the moment. I do enjoy House. There we go. For a kind of time, what do you call it, reference, in the UK version of House, he's only just got out of the mental hospital, so that's what, episode 2 of the latest season. So I'm sure it gets even more awesome as it goes on. But I do enjoy House. I only started watching it by accident. Okay, and that's this piece of cowl created. Exit isolation mode. The best way of attaching these really is just building clasps and things like that that kind of hold it all together. So what I'm going to do here is just move that to there, create an element, which means it will automatically do it on the other side. Then I can just drag it like this, just start straightening it out a bit. Flatten this down. See, that way we're not going to end up with broken pieces that kind of don't fit anywhere. Bring that out to there. As you can see now, that's going to go over the top of this, which is ideal. Now I'm going to just inset this a little bit. Extrude it and extrude it again. Bring this in. Take it in here and just do a quick minor inset. Increase the extrude on this. This is where things get a bit more tricky, obviously. just bring this all the way up like that. And again. And again. To about there. And I'm going to just ring that and connect. Let me see. Trying to remember the button I want for this. This, if I select it, will automatically select an edge ring. Allegedly. Can't remember where the edge loop is. Oh, right, loop. Duh. There we go. Just move that about there. One of the useful tools in the granite tool set there. I know a lot of people will kind of, my god, he's using the granite tool set. But it can be useful. Possibly a bit too much. Hang on, I'll just turn that off. It's these tweaks that tend to take the time, you see. However, being able to select by loop really does save us an awful lot of time. It's one of the things I actually quite like in this tool set. You'll notice positioning these is an absolute blooming nightmare, incidentally. Just keep rotating these pieces. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of stud these in place in some cases. For anyone who's sitting on the front page and currently posting the message, is this live? Yes, this is live. Unless you're not watching it today, in which case, no, it's a video tutorial. You really need to get the hang of this sort of thing. I love that when people post on like 3d-palace, you know, is this live? No. It's using 3ds Max version 6. It's the Dreadnought. See, that's a bit too sharp here. I don't like that. That makes me sad. So we'll chamfer it. Although we'll chamfer it carefully so that we're not doing exactly what I'm doing now. Okay. Good old chamfer tool. Is there anything it can't do? It can't go downstairs and make me a bloody coffee, that's a start. Turn this off again. Quick connect. Turn it back on again. Keep pressing the wrong one, don't I? There we are. This will not edge ring this part, incidentally. Just in case you're wondering. Okay, now up here. Do a quick insert. So before I do, select here. Make sure that's turned off. Do a quick ring and quick connect. Intrigue and mystery. Didn't realise there was an extra vert there. Let's do a cut then. Even more reasons to like the symmetry tool. Okay, quick insert. And, oh, I see a damaged vert there. Let's do a quick target weld. Got to pick up on these things. Quick inset. Quick extrude. Grab this. Move it into that. Grab this edge vert here. Bring it in. There we go. Now then, I'm going to do some straightening up over here. And here. Quick insert. Change this to local. Change this to about there. A quick extrude, just a minor one. Set a minor one, which we'll then cover in lovely greebles later. Not automatic greebling, for God's sakes. We don't do that anymore. Okay, so that's some covering coming around there. Now we're going to continue on the way with this cowling. As you can see, it comes down here where the pipes aren't at the moment. Grab here and here. Inset. bloody thing. Extrude. Build it out a bit. Go to about there. Then I'm going to bring this in. Now you'll notice ergonomically this isn't flowing anymore. Yeah. What I mean by that is the actual shape of our cowling here is kind of overriding a lot of the other shapes. But that's okay, we can get around that. I'll demonstrate in a moment. What we need to do really is just break up this shape a little bit more. So what we're going to do is just start cleaning out the model a little bit. Again, bridge. Then over here, just pull this down. Then if I select here and here, just chamfer them. Carefully, obviously. You'll notice we get this round shape again, which is now fitting in with our model a lot better than it was. Now if I grab here, extrude up, to about there. And what I'm going to do here, just knock those 45 degrees that way, and up. Inset. Delete that and move this in. Now unfortunately I did it at the bottom here as well without realising, so I'll have to do it again, just on this side. Delete there. Bring it along. Now then I want to move this edge here to about there. And then bridge. Okay, now if I use this and just use loop mode, just to automatically select my loop, should be able to chamfer it. Like so. That brings that shape in down there. And as you can see, we've got the pipe work running underneath it now, but we don't need to worry about where it's going to so much. Now over here, what I'm going to do is inset a little bit and make an extrude, second extrude, I'm going to be careful on how to do this as well, otherwise, as you can see, we'll end up with this piece here. There we go. And going to extrude this one. Okay, next. Connect. think I've accidentally selected parts I didn't want to select there. Do it again. Connect. Okay, like that. And that puts that piece of cowl over the top of there, like so. Just get out of editing mode. We can now see how this is kind of fixing onto there. Okay, let's continue with the cowl. And the next part I need is going to be off here. Let's collapse this stack for the moment. And let me see, I'm going to work from... I need something to cover down here, across there, and connect into that. So it's probably going to be best if I work from these parts here. So I'm going to detach as a clone. That way I won't have a hole in my mesh. I'll just reset my pivot point. Bring up to about there. Now if I go over here, where I've got this one, I'll attach this piece in. And just start working straight away on it. Okay, and straight out. Down. Okay, and I think that should be enough for this shape. I'll just... Now, what I want to do is I need to kind of make a shell for this, and I can actually use the shell modifier on my symmetry if I want to, but the problem is that this is all connected to this part here. So I think instead what I'm going to do is just pretty much grab everything here and just shift and drag it down like that, and then obviously I can just do the adjustments that I need to make this work. So again, because you've got to think, if I apply a shell on this, it's going to apply a shell on everything in the stack. Now I can apply a shell by element, but I don't want the stack to get too messy, because at that point your computer starts getting a bit bogged down. Okay, I'm going to select here, just chamfers. And here. Okay, that gives us that shape. Now I'm going to just bring this single polygon here, and I'm going to extrude it by 0, and then bring it straight across. Like that. Now over here, if I extrude this up just a little, I'm going to grab this, scale it and bring it down. I'm going to connect. Too many connects. And there to there, do a quick bridge. Comes across to there. Now over here, I'm going to take these parts. Now you'll notice I've got all this mess going on down here as well. So I want to be careful how I do this. I'm just going to take it from here, I think. Take it here, do an extrude by 0 again. Someone has actually managed to find that thread I was discussing about the guy who wrote in about Ewoks. You know what? I think that is the one. Well done, BK. I can't click and read it because I'm busy recording a tutorial. However, the name does seem very familiar. It was an epic thread. Right, now I'm going to do this. Just shift and rotate 90 degrees, 180 degrees rather. Now, it's probably best if I have angle snap on. It makes it slightly more accurate for me. As you can see, it's building it on the other side as well. And over here we have all our excess polygons that I'm going to be getting rid of. There we are. Bring that over to there. Quick inset. Extrude. Extrude. Bridge. Then go straight through the middle. Do a connect. Not there. Bring this part in. Down to there. And now I just do a quick loop and then a chamfer. I don't think soft selection is really going to be ideal for this, but I'll try it anyway. Didn't think so. Okay, bring that back in. It's bulging nicely there, which is what I needed. Got to just keep finding ways to kind of tie these together, make them just connect to each other, you know. Whether it's by strapping or webbing or whatever. Let's open this out. Okay, what's next? Oh well, we've done another hour. It's probably time to have a quick rest, actually. So, in the next part, we'll continue with our cowling adventure. So, see you in the next bit. Bye-bye for now.